Dude, today we are going to be having a look at some of the systems of a $30,000 per month coaching business. And this is going to be part one. I think this is probably going to take a few parts to get it fully nailed down and make sure that we really have everything shown, but we'll try our best. So in this video, there's a few things I want to cover. The first thing is I want you to be able to see what are the visual gaps that we have right now in our business. What are the flaws in the processes that we have? What data and metrics do we have and what are we currently missing in the business so that you can take action on it? Any roles or accountability that need to be placed on you or possibly team members to um, make sure that we're not missing anything here, and then any other culture and incentives that we need to put in place to help these systems work. So with that, we also have to look at finding the bottlenecks. So I want to do a little bit of a process with you inside here where we're going to help you figure out, right, what is the systematic bottleneck? What is the process constraints where you kind of can't really do anything about it? It's just the way it is, but can we maybe add another resource or can we systemize it or something like that? And then is there any like recent changes in the business? And with all that, let's get you some free resources so that you can actually take action on this today rather than it just being information and not being able to apply it. So let's have a look. But why should you even listen to me? Well, you don't have to, but you might want to. So I'm not a coach doing $30,000 per month. I have a business that does very well, but I am not a coach. I'm a consultant and I build systems and automations and consultant businesses for this. But I have been hired by some of the biggest mentorships and coaching companies and coaches in the world. So I've seen quite a lot of multiple six-figure businesses, and I've seen the insides on what was good, what was not good. Some of the places where I've been hired to speak at. If you want to go see my actual client results, in my offer document, you'll see a pile of them, or just check my Instagram page and you will see literally testimonials going all the way down the feed. But I actually was a coach. I started off as a coach in my career, and it was actually exercise and nutrition that I started off with. I was an in-person PT, I was then an online coach, and then I got into the system space. If you want to see the whole story about that, I have another video on that you could go watch. But I used to be a coach. I've been in your shoes. I've seen the inside of lots of six-figure businesses and some even seven-figure businesses. So I know a few things about systems and automation. So let's jump in. The first thing that you need to understand before we can kind of do anything about automating or systemizing our business is this pain cycle. And I'm going to show you where you likely are now and the mistakes that you could be making with the business structure and some of the stuff that you've probably been taught by mentors, which is just it's a load of shit, to be honest. It makes them look good because they just want to show your Stripe screenshot, but what's going on behind the scenes, it doesn't make any sense. So this is the pain cycle that a lot of coaches are in. We add new clients, and then when we add new clients, we add more admin work. When we add more admin work, we then hit the growth ceiling. And all of this is just like more clients, more admin, less coaching, hit growth ceiling. What do I do? This is normally where somebody goes to a mentor and they're like, hey, I'm stuck. What do I need to do? And this is where they kind of get misled. So the traditional kind of path for this is we get the more clients. Okay. We have more admin. If we have more admin, we should hire more staff. Let the staff take those hours of admin. From there, our profits get reduced because we then have to pay for staff. And then from there, we do more marketing to make up for the less profits. And then we're stuck in that cycle again where we're just going to be doing the same thing. So every time we get more clients, it's more admin, more hiring team, less profits, more marketing. The new way of doing this is we automate any repetitive task that doesn't need to be completed by a human. We systemize anything that does need to be completed by a human, but we need to have a system or process for them to follow so it's as efficient as possible and it gets done the exact same way every single time. And then once we have that done, then we can delegate only the lower value systemized tasks to a different team member. Because if we don't follow it that way, we could be delegating stuff that doesn't need to actually be done. Automation could take care of it. If we're skipping the systemizing part and we're just going automate some stuff and then delegate the rest, the stuff that we're delegating could be taking the person way longer to do the thing, or they could just be doing it not half as well as you because there's no sort of a system in there. So we have to follow this process. But how do we even know like what things we should automate, what we should systemize in the business? Well, I'm going to help you figure this out right now. So if you don't have a pen and paper, go grab one right now because you're going to want to kind of follow along in this process. So I want you to draw this on your page. Let me just select black. So you're just going to draw a line going down here, and then you're going to draw a line going across here. And what we want to do then is on the left-hand side here, we're just going to write time. Okay, and then right-hand side, and then up here we are going to go value. Okay, underneath time we're going to say low. Over here we're going to say high. Okay, and then low, and then high. Now, your job is to go through all of the tasks that you do in your coaching business. And like we'll just do onboarding, we'll figure that out here now. But you should use this lens for literally everything inside your business. And all you're going to do is you're going to list out all your tasks, and then you're just going to dot them on the x-axis and the y-axis. So the first thing is, if we said the onboarding process, we were looking at that. Sending out the welcome email, so crafting the welcome email and sending it out. So it takes a little bit of time. So we would say maybe as far as here, but then the value of that actual welcome email, like that welcome email, it's not that valuable. So we could say down here, saying draw where exactly that would be, going across. So that is where sending your welcome email is. Now I'm just going to remove these here and make it a little bit cleaner. So welcome email. Okay, next thing, sending out a contract to a client takes a bit of time as well. Is it really high value to the client? No, not at all. That would be down here. Okay, sending out a PDF to a client, if it's like, hey, this is our MyFitnessPal guide, go and getting the link, sending it to the client again. It takes a little bit of time. Value to the client? Not really. Okay, now the other side of it, a 30-minute kickoff call with the clients where you sit down and you talk to them about their goals and the roadmap that you've built for them. Time-wise, it takes a bit of time. We're probably somewhere up here. But value-wise, it's really high in value for the clients. So that would be up here. Okay. So what we want to do is anything that actually, it probably won't even be that far. It would probably be more up here, about half an hour to actually do that call. So really what we want to do is anything that takes a long time and the value is really, really low, get rid of it. So anything that is here, we don't want to manually be doing that. Anything that's here, it's kind of like debatable. Same with here, it's like debatable. We don't really know. It kind of depends on the task, but anything that doesn't take you a lot of time and it's super high value to your client, we 100% want to keep this manual. So just looking at this, automate your onboarding, automatically have the welcome email sent, automatically have the contract signed, automatically send any resources, app access, anything like that. The only part of it that you would do manual is actually show up for your kickoff call because it's so high value to the clients and it doesn't actually take you that much time. Now, you could say more about like doing extra like one-to-one kind of like videos and resources specifically for that client, yes, it might take more time. That's kind of in this like orange zone, just depending on the value of the client. So if it is super high value, if it's higher up in this orange zone towards here, yeah, maybe keep it. But like if we're anywhere down here, fucking dump it out, get rid of it straight away. There's no need to be doing that kind of stuff. So now we know roughly what should be automated just by looking at the onboarding. You should take that lens with every other part of your business and just put it through that process. So let's take a look at what we can actually do with the onboarding. And don't worry, you're going to have a resource for this after, so don't start panicking and trying to take too much notes. So the streamlined onboarding system. So let me tell you a little bit of a story. Matt. So before this client started working with me, Matt, he decided, right, I'm going to start charging more. He started charging 2K for his online coaching, which was quite a lot at the time for him. And it was a bit of a big step to increase the prices. Once he increased the prices, he was on a sales call. He was a little bit nervous and he let the prospect off the call on a maybe that they kind of weren't sure about. He said, look, I'll send you the payment link. If you want, go ahead with the payment, and you'll be able to get set up from there. We'll get you going. Cool. Matt went off to sleep. I said the client, Matt, is in Dubai, by the way. This client was in the UK, so Matt was a few hours ahead. Matt went off to sleep, and then his prospect purchased using the payment link. Awesome. Except for he bought the thing, said thank you. His bank balance showed minus 2,000. He said, okay. And then there was no contact from Matt. There was no follow-up email. There was no like resources. There was nothing happening straight away. All that happened was he spent 2 grand and got nothing from it straight away. Now he understood it was for the coaching program, but because he didn't get anything straight away, this prospect started to doubt if he had made the right decision. So he pondered on it, I imagine, for a while. I don't know what he was actually doing when he was thinking about it, but I imagine he was sitting down on the couch, he was watching TV, probably sitting down with his missus, and he went, right, I don't know if I'm after making a mistake on this. I should probably contact Matt. And then Matt woke up the next morning. He's seen Stripe, 2K added, lovely, happy days. But then he looked and he found an email from this prospect saying, hey, I think I jumped the gun and I rushed into it too quick and asked for a refund. As this person had just purchased, they hadn't received any product, they hadn't signed any contract, anything like that. He had to refund them. So that was a bit of an expensive mistake where a simple like 5-minute automation could have solved this. It could have immediately killed the buyer's remorse and it could have delivered some of the deliverables to this prospect as soon as they bought it. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Let's have a look. When your prospect goes through a proper onboarding process, they're going to feel more supported immediately. Like as soon as they pay and they get something, like it's a nice feeling. And then you don't have to actually do any part of that. So the welcome email, booking the call for the kickoff call, any Slack access or intake forms or contracts or anything like that, it's all done automatically. It sets the tone, so it's a nice professional service. From there, then, the clients are more likely to actually refer you during this process if they feel that, right, this is absolutely world class, this is amazing. And on top of that, it actually saves you time as well. So we're not going to complain about that. Now, to set this up, we need to kind of list out what needs to happen after payment. Generally, this is the process where your client pays, they get this instantly, where they would get welcome email, contract, intake forms, any onboarding next steps, where it's like, hey, join this app, join our WhatsApp group, our community, and the exact path on your specific offer for like, right, this is what we're going to do first, then we're going on to this. So just so they're clear and they're not kind of left wondering, what do I do next? Let's get this set up for you. Now, you don't have to make this super complicated, but you do have to follow this kind of a process. The first thing that we want to trigger this by Stripe or whatever payment platform you use. If you use PayPal, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit trickier to do that, but majority of people are going to be Stripe or Square, and they work the exact same way. So in Zapier, you're going to set up an automation where the Zap is a new checkout session in Stripe. So you'll see here, this is what it will look like for you. Now, the reason that we do new checkout sessions, it's an instant Zap, so there's no delays. It will go on straight away. And then we can actually apply a filter after this. So the next step is going to be to use a filter by Zapier. And the reason we do a filter is we don't want the onboarding sent out to somebody saying, hey, welcome to the coaching, and giving them everything when they just bought like a 27 quid fucking recipe book or something off you. We don't want that happening, or any old offers or like low ticket stuff. We only want it to trigger for whatever your main product is. So in your description of the payment link or the product in Stripe, put in some sort of a keyword. This could be something like coaching, it could be something like one-to-one, or like some sort of a descriptor that we know, hey, if a purchase happens, that is 100% the one-to-one coaching. From there, then we're able to set the filter to say, hey, only continue if it matches coaching and it has that keyword. So if it's a low ticket one, it stops there immediately. If it's a coaching, it goes on to the next step. And then the next one then is just to add the rest of your actions. So it might be like a welcome email for confirmation straight away. It might be their intake form. It might be their contract. It might be to create a client folder for them. It might be to message them in Slack. Whatever it is, we are handling the emotion straight away, and we are making sure that they realize, I have just started this thing. I'm in there. The plan is in place. I'm moving across the board here with all the steps. It's just reassurance for them. And then from there, you can get them to be added into your CRM and everything like that. But keep that simple process and then just add to it step by step. And to make this easier, with some common mistakes, I'll go through them in a minute. To make this easier, there's like a complete walkthrough tutorial on setting up that very Zap and Zapier. Literally just follow my clicks all the way through, and I'll tell you how to do it, how to connect it, everything. Full walkthrough video. It'll take you 15 minutes to set up. That's me doing it super slow, explaining every step. If you're doing it, it'll probably take you like 5 minutes, but yeah, you can get that. So in the description below this, there will be a link to get access to all the free resources and everything. Yeah, take it, go use it. So common mistakes people make is not matching it to the product. So like it triggering on like low ticket products, make sure we use that filter. The next one is forgetting to map like their client's name and email address. So when you get to the step of sending them a welcome email, instead of sending it to the client, you'll actually put in your own email address. We don't want that. We want it to be dynamic in the client's email address. So just when you're setting it up, make sure you check that. Not testing the automation, make sure you test the automation before running it live. And then sending all the onboarding materials at once. You do not want to fucking just bombard them with every single bit of onboarding and like resources and everything that you have, because we want to make it super clear, just like, hey, this is all you need to focus on right now. Just get this one step done. After that step is done, this step. After that, this step. And make it super easy for them to go through. Ideally, we want this broken up into separate automations and separate little triggers, but I'll talk about that in the video. And then the next one is not using any conditional paths. So like if you wanted, you could put in a path in the automation where it says, right, well, as soon as they go in here, if they are part of this group, they'll get this email. If they're part of this group, they'll get this other email, and like personalizing the automation paths inside there. But without going too far into it, check out that automation, use that tutorial, automate your onboarding. There's absolutely zero fucking excuse. You will have it done there within the next like half an hour if you do it. Now, let's move on. The second system is the $3,000 contract system. And why is it called the $3,000 contract system? Well, unfortunately for my client, there's a bit of a story here. So 2 seconds. With this comes from a client. Before he started working with me, he took on a client and he started working with them for a few weeks. And then after he was working with them for a few weeks, this client was like, you know what? This isn't for me. I want to stop. I'd like a refund. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. And he said, well, I've already done the work. Unfortunately, we can't give you a refund. Like, it said this in the contract. And they replied, I didn't sign the contract. So he was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure I sent the contract to them. He went and he checked. He did send the contract, but he just never checked if they actually signed the contract. This ended in a $3,000 refund from him back to that client. But this again could have been solved by a 5-minute automation. It literally take you like 5 minutes to set this up, and it makes it impossible for that to ever happen. So let's talk about it. The big problem right now is if you are operating without an agreement or contract, you're doing the work with no legal protection about like you informing them what is included, what's not included, refunds, if they waive any right to like cooling off period because they receive some products. Like you have none of that in place. You become vulnerable to refunds or chargebacks if you do ever have to fight a case then with like PayPal or Stripe. It's harder for you to prove what is included and not included, and if the client understood that, and then it destroys your confidence. Like if you get a charge back, like the next time you go into a sales call and they pay, you're not going to feel comfortable until they have a contract signed, and it's unfortunate because I to me, I think it's just it's a bad thing to do. Like if you purchased the thing at the time, like and you understood what it was, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. So is completely avoidable with one automation, and I'm going to show you how to set this up because this seems like a small problem until it actually costs you thousands. We don't want that happening, dude. So it's a simple three-step framework, and you can literally follow the exact steps shown. I'm going to talk you through the process here. So the first thing to do is go to signnow.com and go set up an account. Now, very important when you're setting this up is if you want to be able to tie this to automations, set up the business premium account. This account is $30 per month, or $30, €30. It's 30 quid a month if you do it monthly. If you do it yearly, it's only 15 quid. If you have any, if you're this far into a video about systems and automations, you should just buy that for the year. It is going to be worth its weight in gold. So purchase that, get set up. The next thing that you're going to do is set up your contract. I'll show you how to do it as well. After you do that, you decide where does this happen in your onboarding flow. So does it go just after point of payment? Does it go just after your intake? It will kind of depend on your business. Most people will be best doing it just after the payment is completed. Then the contract will be sent out. Here's an example of it doing after the intake form. Once the intake form is completed, it will create a document and send it out for signing to that person. And then the really important one, and this is why we use Sign Now for the contracts with the clients, is you can set a reminder where this will go out to them every 2 days until they sign the contract. So you can see here, set reminder in X days or set reminder every X days. And you just make sure that this is like the start of the coaching. Nothing happens until this is completed. So they literally can't get access to anything else. Nothing moves in the onboarding process. You just need to complete your contract, and that's it. So here's a little bit of an implementation checklist for that. So just first thing, create an account on Sign Now and set up your contract inside there. I'll show you how to do that. Decide what trigger it's going to be. So is it point of payment or is it after the intake form? Build the Zap to send the contract via Sign Now, and then turn on Sign Now reminders every 2 days. If you wanted, you could create a field in like your CRM, whether it's Airtable, Trello, or something like that, where you have contract signed and then you tick that off, or you get an automation to tick that off if you wanted. And then a little bit of a pro tip is to build a second Zap that when the contract is completed, that's actually the trigger. So it would be, the trigger would be Sign Now, contract signed. That would then send them the intake form or send them the Trainrise app access or whatever is the next step inside your coaching business. That way, nothing continues until they sign the contract, making that little story I told you about the client impossible for it to ever happen to you. And then test the whole thing with a dummy client. So do not test it with an actual client email. Test it with a dummy client email just so we can make sure that, right, this is working and you can see both sides of it. And that is it. You will be set up and ready to go. So as usual, I have a little resource for you on this. So if you go into that same place linked in the description, you will see the $3,000 contract automation, a step-by-step tutorial. That takes me 12 minutes, even while getting a sample contract up, matching the fields where it needs to be signed, setting up the automation. It is super quick. Just go set it up. There's no reason to not have this in place in your business. And yeah, mistakes to avoid. Don't let your clients in without signing the contract. Making sure that you have the reminders set up so that they can't say, oh, I didn't see it in my inbox. It's like, right, well, it ended up in your inbox every 2 days for the last 20 days. It's in there. Yeah, that's it. Set it up, super easy. Now on to the big one. So The lead tracker, and this is you after watching this video. Let me walk around counting your cash like that. The lead tracker is one of the most important systems, maybe the most important, definitely one of the most important systems for coaches who want to scale their business, because we have to know what's going on with the leads that are coming in versus that have been there for a while, who's being nurtured, who's ready to buy, who's a buy now, a buy soon, a buy later, who's never going to buy from us. And we need a way of managing all that. So I'm going to talk you through a lead tracking process that we use with the clients who are making around the 30 grand a month. And if you're not making that much, definitely use a system like this to get you towards that amount. But let's dive into this. So this is a huge problem that a lot of coaches face. They'll get a message, they'll have an application completed, they'll have a call booked, they'll have a follow-up reminder pop up in their calendar saying, hey, follow up with Aaron about X. They'll have a past client to reconnect with in their Notion doc. They'll say that, oh, I need to follow up with this past client. And then every one of these, that's not what we want. We want it to be centralized. So here's why that's a big problem. Leads slip through the cracks. The calls aren't logged consistently. The follow-ups are only done when you remember. The pipeline metrics are then skewed because it's not an accurate depiction of the amount of leads that are in the inbox, how long they've actually been there, where exactly they are in the pipeline. And then with your data not being in one place, we don't really know what's going on. There's just too many places to be looking. What we want is every lead captured in one place. We want to see every application linked to the leads profile. We want to see every call tracked with the AI summaries of what we said, what we offer, like literally all of it there. Every follow-up that we have to make with a prospect who doesn't close or is a past client, that needs to be scheduled automatically for us and be able to see all the follow-up reminders when they need to be sent to the clients. We need to see every number inside the business to do with lead generation, and it needs to be automatically tracked ideally, because it just improves the accuracy of that data. Because data hygiene is super important when it comes to like tracking this kind of stuff, especially if we want to, we can see, well, on average we get this many calls, this is our show rate, our close rate, this is our average customer spend, this is our average customer contract, and it takes them X amount of days to convert. We have more of a predictable pipeline. So this sounds complicated, doesn't it? Let's see how it all actually works together. So the first thing is lead creation. A lead can be added to the lead tracker in any of these number of ways. Could be a coaching application that comes through from your Typeform. It could be a mani chat where they DM you offer, or DM to go to your long form channel, or DM to go to lead magnet. And if you don't have them set up, I literally have a full video with like a breakdown showing you every single automation. You can steal it also inside that free resource area. So go check that out. It could be a manual entry where your VA or you identify a load of new followers who came in that are potentially good clients, or it could be a micro offer purchase where they purchased a low ticket product and they are now added into your lead tracker. All of these actions push them into the lead tracker and into the right stage of the pipeline. Then, actually, let me just give you a quick look. So like that, where we would see all of them populate into the pipeline. Then we have identity matching for their data. So a big problem is if you're using a spreadsheet or something like that and you're logging all like the people, anytime that a new coaching application comes in, first of all, it probably doesn't even go into the fucking spreadsheet, which is another problem. But it's probably duplicating contacts. So you'll have like 5 people here who are all the same person, and they booked a call and none of their data is all linked. What we want is anytime that something changes to do with the lead tracker, there's a new contact being added, instead of it just being like, right, new contact and adding them, it first checks the contact's details and says, hey, based off your full name, your email address and Instagram handle, if we have you, do we already have you in this system? And if we do, is any of this data present for you? So do we already have a coaching application, a micro offer bought by you? Do you have any purchase history with this company? So then we can grab all that data and pull that into one centralized profile per person. So that stops you from then having to like merge profiles. It's like it just gets everything into one place automatically for you. Then after the data is pulled in and kind of merged together, that's where we start to get more useful stuff. So you'll have the pipeline automatically updating. So anytime that an application is submitted, it will move them to application complete. When the call is booked, it'll move them to call booked. This is me dragging it over. It will do it like that automatically. If the call is cancelled, it will cancel the call. When the call is completed, it will make them call completed. It's like it will move the pipeline around for you, and that's just using Zapier and ManyChat to go make those changes. Then every call becomes part of the person's profile. So very often we just see that somebody booked in for a call on Calendly, but we have no other information about that. But when somebody books a call, it goes to the lead tracker and then it adds onto their profile. So we can see this call is booked for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. So we click on the call and then we see, oh, here's their application details. Here's their information from when they booked in Calendly. Here's the lead magnets that they opted in for over the past year. They first became a lead on this date. That was X amount of days ago. I can see that I previously offered them a call. Like all of this information is now available because it's one centralized profile per lead. And then let's say you have the call. The AI summary of the call is then populated onto the person's profile. So we'd be able to see what happened there. Did we close? Did we not close? What payment plans did we offer? Like all of this data in one place. And then from there, we have some conversion logic. So if you close somebody, the conversion date needs to be timestamped, because when we timestamp the conversion date, we're then able to see roughly how long does it take from somebody becoming a lead all the way up to actually converting into a client. And then that's going to be paired then with like cash collected, contracted, show rate, close rate, and rolled up into a dashboard. So we'll be able to see everything in one place. There's follow-up logic then that runs every day. So there's no more of the who should I follow up with, who do I need to send the message. We have different categories of like the stages of pipeline that they're at, but everybody has a next contact date. So past clients, there's a little past client reoffer system where it will basically keep a constant loop of past clients there, where every day there's past clients that you need to reach out to basically offer them reback into your coaching program. It's the same then for the people who didn't close, the people who are just in conversation started, the people who opt in for a lead magnet, the people who are booked for a call. It just shows you every day, who do I need to contact? You contact them, and then from there, you just set the follow-up. So you just pop them into 7-day, 60-day, 90-day, whatever it is. It will set the date when it's time for them to come back onto your list. They'll populate in front of you saying, hey, follow up with this person today, and then click on their profile. All their details are there again. Then you have the dashboards. So the dashboards make everything visual. So with the lead tracker, obviously we have like, the tracker itself and click into the profiles and see what's going on, but it's the metrics. How many leads do we have in there? How many calls do we currently have booked? What's our show rate? What's our close rate? What's our cash collected? What's our monthly totals? What's our lifetime averages of contracted? And then that's where the dashboards show us, where we'll be able to see like, right, there's currently 2 active leads. If we click into it, then it'll show us who they are. I'll click into it. We can open up their profile. How many calls do we currently have booked? On average, we book 10 calls per month. We have a 100% show rate. We have a close rate of 4 out of 10. We have the close rate here. Like it will show us everything about the business, where we'll be able to see cash collected, cash contracted, the percentage, how many days it takes to convert, and then we can filter through from month to month to see all the details of what went on month to month, and even like lead sources. So like, where did all the leads come from? But of the leads who actually converted into clients, where did they actually come from? And it's all held in one place. So that is the type of lead tracking systems that these clients are using. Now, that is all for today. Start tracking your leads, automate your onboarding, automate the contract. And before you go, there's 3 things that you might be interested in. So the first thing is Automations Vault. So down below in the description, you will see a link to the Automations Vault. It's essentially a free community where you can go in and see more plug and play automations like the ones I'm talking about today to help you with your coaching business or fitness business or whichever it is. The next then is the pipeline fix. So depending on the time that you're watching this video, it might have already happened or it might just be on the way. But very soon I am launching a small little micro product where you will be able to jump in with me, where we actually fix your pipeline like that and build out your full lead tracking system all within 7 days, where you've personal access to me and a bunch of other resources as well. And then if you're at the stage where you're like, I just need help and I need somebody to jump in and show me exactly what to do and literally hold my hand and show me this is what we need to do for your business, this might be a good idea for you. And again, link down below to all of these. Check them out. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them over to me.